So, as I have said, so meron tayong cathode and anode, and yung topic natin this morning, ito yung mga very, very important. So, important naman yung mga previous topics natin, pero ito yung pinaka important sa lahat. Okay, so this is where the X-rays are produced during exposure. So, cathode. So, dalawa ang components ng cathode natin. So cathode natin is comprised of the filament, and the other one is the focusing cup or the filament cup. Focusing cup or the filament cup. While yung anode natin, dalawa din. So we have the target, and the other one is the focal spot. Okay? So, tig-dalawa sila. So, cathode is negatively charged. So, you already know that. And anode is positively charged. So, kung ang cathode is negatively charged, filament is also negative, and focusing cup is also negative. And kung ang anode is positively charged, target is of course positive, and focal spot is likewise positive. So, ito yung ating anode. Then, ito yung ating cathode. So, ito siya. So, this entire portion here, this entire portion here is called the anode assembly. And this entire portion here is what we call the cathode assembly. Okay? So, meron tayong anode assembly and we have the cathode assembly, which I will discuss on the succeeding slides. So, as I have said, it is negatively charged, may filament siya, and may filament cup or focusing cup. Ulitan ko lang yung kulay ng pen. And ang filament natin is usually dalawa. We have the large filament and the small filament. So, the small filament, usually ginagamit siya sa mga maliliit na structures like the joints, para mas maganda ang resolution, mas maganda ang detail, mas makikita yung structures. While the large filament is ginagamit sa mga larger structures like kapag nag-expose tayo ng chest, abdomen, so yun yung gamit niya. So may mga different sizes tayo ng filament which will also be discussed at a later time. Nasa slide din natin yan. So, filament is the source of electrons. So, kailangan mag-init muna yung ating filament para magkaroon ng production ng electrons. And it is a small coil which is made of thoriated tungsten wire, which is about 2 millimeters in diameter. So, maliit lang siya na wire, very thin. And yung haba niya is about 1 to 2 centimeters in length. So, sinabi siyang thoriated tungsten because it is a tungsten added with thorium. Okay? So, pag ang tanong, ano ang main element na ginagamit for filament, it is tungsten. Tapos, dinadagdagan lang siya ng thorium. So, bakit tungsten? Because tungsten has a high melting point. And, ano ang melting point ng tungsten? The melting point of tungsten is 3,410 degrees Celsius. So, very high siya. And also, so this is the melting point. What is the atomic number of tungsten? So, atomic number is 74. So, letter Z ang ating symbol for atomic number. So, because of this, so mataas ang kanyang melting point, mataas ang kanyang atomic number. So, ibig sabihin, it can withstand. So, kaya niya yung mga may init na environment. So, it can withstand tremendous amount of heat. So, this also means that hindi siya madaling matunaw, or yung term natin is hindi siya madaling ma-vaporize. Okay? So, yan yung mga reasons Actually, some of the reasons kasi yung ibang reasons cost-effective siya and also the availability. So, ang filament is made of tungsten because of its high melting point and because of its high atomic number, which allows it to withstand tremendous amount of heat. So, therefore, hindi siya madaling ma-vaporize. Especially that, as I have said here, the filament is the source of electrons. And electrons are heat, di ba? Mainit siya. So in order to produce electrons, kailangan may certain current na kailangan ma-provide, may apply dun sa ating filament. And so 3 to 6 amperes. Take note, hindi siya milliampere ha. 3 to 6 amperes or sa ibang book naman, it is 4 to 6 amperes. So, kailangan isupply ang current na ganito yung range niya, 3 to 6 or 4 to 6 amperes sa ating filament para mag-init siya and then kapag nag-init siya, it will produce electrons. Okay? So, yun nga yung isa sa mga reasons bakit tungsten. Kasi nga high ang melting point niya. Hindi siya agad-agad matutunaw. And also, it is added with thorium para lang din, kumbaga, para siyang ma-boost yung energy ng ating filament. So, ibig sabihin, thorium is added to tungsten para ma-help siya na hindi madaling ma-vaporize. Okay? Parang assistant siya. Okay? So, the amount of thorium added to tungsten is about 1 to 2%. Okay? So, tungsten is added with 1 to 2% of thorium. Okay? So that is for the filament. So another part of the cathode assembly is the focusing cup. So it encases the two filaments. So ibig sabihin yung dalawang filaments natin, yung large and small, nakalagay dito sa loob ng focusing cup or ng filament cup. So this is used to focus the space charge to a target area and made of molybdenum naman, but also nickel can be used. So when we say space charge, this simply refers to the cloud of electrons or electron cloud. Okay? So space charge is the other term for electron cloud or cloud of electrons. So sabi dito, it serves to focus, kaya nga focusing cup. And it's made of molybdenum. Kung ang tungsten natin is thoriated, kung ang filament natin is thoriated tungsten, ang focusing cup natin is made up of molybdenum, but nickel can also be used. So, sinasabi dito na it serves to focus the space charge. So, we have here the focusing cup. Pasensya na, hindi ako marunong mag-drawing. So, halimbawa, ito yung focusing cup natin. Ito yung ating dalawang filament. So, di ba, mag-iinit siya. So, kapag nag-init na yung filament natin, nagpo-produce siya ng electrons. So, syempre, maraming electrons. So, ang kailangan natin, maraming electrons para maraming ding X-rays. So, as much as possible, so ang aim natin is sana 100% of these electrons produced will be forwarded dito sa ating anode. Ito yung anode natin. Okay? So, kung walang focusing cup, so halimbawa, kung walang focusing cup, so since electrons are negatively charged, the tendency is that they will repel each other. Diba? They will repel each other. So ito yung ating pinaka envelope, glass envelope. Pasensya na sa drawing ko. Basta, sana na-imagine nyo. So, ito yung ating glass envelope. So, kung walang focusing cup, ang tendency is that these electrons, some electrons will be repelled in this direction. So, iba-iba yung pupuntahan nila. So, kasi, di ba kapag nag-expose tayo, meron tayong ready, yung rotor, and then tinatawag na rotor, ready, tapos pangalawang pindot natin is exposed. Okay? So, pag magre-ready tayo, yung mga electrons, nandito lang yan, nakatambay. Then, kapag nag-push tayo ulit ng expose, lahat ng mga electrons, supposedly, dapat napupunta dito sa anode. Kasi anode is positive. So, may attraction. So, habang hindi pa tayo nag-expose, so naka-ready lang, nandito yung mga electrons natin, and kung walang focusing cap, as I have said, so yung iba pupunta dito. So, limbawa, this is 100%. So, since nag-repel na yung iba, napunta na kung saan-saan, so kapag nag-expose tayo, maaari, so halimbawa lang, just for you to understand, ang mapupunta na lang dito is let's say 50%. So, konti na lang. So, konti lang din yung X-rays na mapuproduce natin, which may not be enough to produce image. Okay? So as much as possible, yung aim natin is 100% of these electrons will be forwarded sa ating anode so that we will also have more X-rays produced which can be sufficient or enough to produce image. Okay? So going back dito sa ating, so ang focusing cup, andito siya. So since negative din siya, so habang naka-ready tayo, hindi pa tayo nagpo-push ng expose button, so negative siya, so ang tendency is that kapag nag-repel yung mga electrons na to, halimbawa dito siya napunta, hindi siya lalagpas. Hindi rin siya didikit dito kasi nga negative din ito. So they will also have repelling force. Okay? So yung ito din, kung mapunta dito, babalik siya kasi nga negative din to. That is why ang term natin is it serves to focus. Nagets ba? Naintindihan? Para mag-remain lang yung mga electrons natin in place. Para kapag nag-expose na tayo, so all of them, ideally, should reach the anode. Naintindihan ang purpose ng focusing cup? So, eto siya, yung focusing cup natin, and then we have the filament here. So, as I have said kanina, we have the term space charge, which refers to the cloud of electrons or the electron cloud, which are accumulated during thermionic emission. So, kailan nangyayari ang thermionic emission? So, bago yan, define muna natin yung thermionic emission. This is also a very important term. So, therm from the word heat. So, therm for heat and ion refers to a charged particle. So, charged particle, which in this case, yung charged particle natin is the electron. So, meaning, pag sinabi natin thermionic emission, this refers to the emission or production of electrons from a heated or mainit na surface, mainit na area. So, sa RadTech, ang definition natin dito sa thermionic emission is the emission or production of electrons from a heated filament. Kailangan ang ating filament magkaroon ng supply, yung sabi natin kanina na 3 to 6 amperes or 4 to 6 amperes para mag-init siya, para mag-produce siya ng electrons. Okay? Yung mga na-produce na electrons, dun sa dinrawing ko kanina, yung mga electrons na nandun sa filament na nakatambay, so they are called the cloud of electrons. We have another term which is referred to as the space charge effect. So space charge effect is a phenomenon. So pangyayari siya, phenomenon whereby most of the electrons emitted by the cathode are driven back to it by the repulsion of the cloud of electrons. So, if you have, remember kanina, di ba, sabi ko may mga repulsion siya, nagre-repel sila kapag nakatambay pa sila doon sa ating filament. And because of this, so, sometimes nangyayari yung ating space charge effect. Okay? So, ito yung keyword nyo sa space charge effect. Phenomenon siya, may word na driven back, may word na repulsion or repel. Ito yung mga cloud of electrons natin. Ito yung ating mga cloud of electrons. Then, napupunta siya sa anode kapag nag-expose na tayo. Ito yung anode. So, habang nakatambay sila, since they are negatively charged, so they will repel each other. Although may focusing cup, diba may focusing cup tayo, halimbawa, yung iba, bumabalik dito. Okay? As you can see here, may mga electrons sa part na to. And ito yung space charge. Okay? So, they are driven back to the cathode. Bumabalik sila sa cathode because of the electrostatic repulsion. And bakit as much as possible, iiwasan natin or hindi natin gusto or hindi natin gugustuhin na magkaroon ng space charge effect because nababawasan yung electrons natin na supposedly dapat sana napunta dito. Okay? So, same pa din sa na-explain ko kanina, kapag konti lang yung electrons na napunta sa anode natin, konti lang din yung X-rays na mapoproduce which may not be enough or sufficient to produce the desired image. Okay? So, as I have said kanina, ito yung ating tungsten na ginagamit para dun sa filament natin. It is the metal of choice or material of choice because it can withstand tremendous or masyadong mataas na amount of heat because of its high melting point. So, W is the symbol, chemical symbol for tungsten. So high melting point of 3,410 degrees Celsius. And as I have also mentioned earlier, it is added with thorium, which is about 1 to 2% to help it uh, withstand tremendous amount of heat. So nakakatulong siya. Also, it provides a good source of electrons through what we call the thermionic emission. So ito yung sinasabi ko na thermionic emission. So I have already defined this one. So kapag nag-init na yung filament natin, so it will boil off. So sometimes kasi yung term na makikita nyo is boil off, or it will produce or emit electrons. So we are done with the cathode assembly. Next is the anode assembly. So as I have also mentioned earlier, so it also contains two main parts, the target and the focal spot. While the whole assembly, so ito yung ating target and focal spot. So ito sa anode. And then yung ating anode assembly, kasama na yung anode, yung stator, and yung rotor. So, nabanggit ko rin kanina yung electrons natin na galing sa ating filament, sa cathode natin, ay dito napupunta sa ating anode. So, this is the whole anode assembly. So, we have the anode here. So, sa anode, sa part na to, dito rin makikita yung ating target and yung ating focal spot, which I will discuss in detail in a while. Then, we have the rotor here. Siya, yung rotor. Yung naririnig nating maingay kapag nagre-ready tayo, yung umingikot sa loob. So, siya yung napapaikot sa ating anode. And then we have the stator, which is outside. So, we have already discussed this last semester. So, stator is outside the glass envelope and it is made of either permanent magnet or pwede rin siya made up of electromagnet. While the rotor or the rotating motor, so this is found inside. So ito is outside, ito is inside. So this is steel. So meaning still or stationary. Okay? So ito naman ay moving or rotating because of electromagnetic induction. So the stator is made of permanent magnet or pwede ring electromagnet, while the rotor is made of copper bars and soft iron around a molybdenum shaft. Okay? So this one is made of permanent magnet or electromagnet, and this one is made of copper bars and soft irons, and this one is the shaft, which is made of molybdenum. Okay, so sometimes this is called the neck. So ayan din siya. So the purpose of anode is this is a site for energy conversion. It serves as a target for the high voltage electrons and conducts high voltage from cathode back into the X-ray generator circuit. So among these three na nabanggit, so we have also, sige, so primary thermal conductor. So among these four, yung halimbawa kung isa lang ang tinatanong, yung pinaka main purpose ng anode is eto. So this provides a site for energy conversion. Okay? So ano ang energy na kino-convert ng ating anode? So this converts electrical energy to electromagnetic energy. Okay? Or from electrons na galing sa cathode, magiging X-ray siya, which is also a form of electromagnetic energy or electromagnetic radiation. Okay? So, yan yung pinaka-purpose ng anode, to convert electrons into X-rays or to convert electrical to electromagnetic energy or electromagnetic radiation. So also, sinasabi dito, serves the target. So, di ba yung ating electrons from the cathode, dito mapupunta sa anode. So, target siya ng electrons. It conducts high voltage from the cathode back into the X-ray generator circuit. Since meron tayong conservation of energy, so yung high voltage na galing sa cathode, ibabalik siya sa ating generator. Okay? So meron tayong universal conservation of energy. So, ang high voltage na galing sa cathode na dala-dala ng electrons, kapag napunta na yung electron sa anode, sa target, so i-absorb din ng anode yung ating voltage and ibabalik niya sa X-ray generator circuit. Another one is primary thermal conductor. So, di ba, electrons, electrical energy, so mainit yan. So, from cathode, so in a form of electrons, yung init, di ba? Yung init niya mapupunta sa ating anode, specifically sa target or sa focal spot. And then, after nyan, di ba, i-absorb yung init, after ng conversion of energy, kasi nga during exposure, di ba, only 1% is X-ray and 99% is heat. So, yung init na na-absorb ng anode is ipapasa na doon sa ating rotor. And then, sa rotor, papasa ang init sa ating glass envelope. And yung init na pupunta sa ating stator. And then, doon sa ating insulating oil, di ba? Between ng ating glass envelope. So, insulating oil or sa ating kulan. And then, from the insulating oil, mapupunta sa ating housing, protective housing. Okay, so we have discussed this also previously that protective housing is the last part of the X-ray tube that cools down after exposure. So ito from cathode, pupunta sa anode, sa rotor, sa glass envelope, sa stator. Minsan, sa ibang diagram naman, from anode, diretso na sa glass envelope. So, kumbaga, understood naman na dito siya dadaan. Glass envelope, tapos diretso na din sa insulating oil, then sa protective housing. So we have also two types of anode. So we have the stationary and the rotating anode. So stationary anode, from the word itself, it is stationary. It is not moving, it is still. And hindi na siya ginagamit sa mga modern diagnostic X-ray machines ngayon. Makikita na lang siya sa mga old mobile radiographic units, radiographic X-ray machines, sa mga luma and sa mga dental units. Bakit? Because stationary anode reduces output. So pag sinabing reduces output, hindi ganon kadami ang X-rays na napoproduce niya, unlike with rotating. At the same time, limited lang din yung examinations na pwede nating i-perform using stationary anode. So bakit sinasabing limited compared sa rotating anode? So, limited siya because kapag nag-expose tayo sa stationary anode, matagal siyang mag-cool down. Bakit matagal mag-cool down? Dahil hindi siya umiikot. Kasi ang purpose ng rotating anode para mag-dissipate ng heat. Para mag-give off ng heat. So, kaya umiikot siya. Ito, naka-steady lang siya. So, matagal mag-cool down. So, ibig sabihin, hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit ng matataas na technique factors dahil kapag mataas ang technique factors, KDP and MA and time combo natin, so mainit yun. So, matagal siya mag-cool down. So, hindi ka pwede mag-expose ulit kung may another patient ka or another exposure na kailangan gawin dahil kailangan muna siyang antayin na mag-cool down para magamit ulit. Kasi kung sunod-sunod yung exposure natin na matataas ang technique factors, so pwede siyang mag-overheat, pwede siyang masira. Okay? So kaya hindi siya ideal ngayon sa mga modern diagnostic X-ray unit. Sa mga dental X-ray machine, pwede siya kasi ang ginagamit naman na KDP and MA and time combo is mababa lang kasi for teeth lang naman siya. So this is also made up of tungsten which is embedded in a copper. Okay. So ipapakita ko mamaya yung sinasabi dito na embedded with copper. For rotating anode, so this turns or rotate during exposure, and as we have mentioned earlier, this contain or made up of molybdenum disc rotated by an induction motor. So it is consist of three main parts. So pwede siyang molybdenum, yung ating shaft kanina. Tapos yung pinaka-disc niya, so kung ito siya, ito yung ating shaft, molybdenum siya. Ito naman is made up of tungsten din. Okay? So take note, yung ating filament is made up of tungsten, added with thorium. Yung ating anode is also made up of tungsten, added with rhenium. So, para clear tayo, ganito siya. So, filament is made up of tungsten plus 1% to 2% of thorium. While yung ating anode is made up of also tungsten plus 5 to 10% of rhenium. So this is also consists of three main parts yung ating rotating anode. We have the rotating target, the anode stem, and the rotor. So nakita nyo rin yan kanina. So these are the images for stationary. Ito ang stationary, ito ang rotating. As you can see, ito siya, tungsten, tapos naka-embed siya sa copper bars. Nakadikit lang siya. Ito naman, tungsten din, na may thorium. Tapos, bago siya dumikit sa copper bars and soft ions, so, dito muna siya nakakabit sa molybdenum shaft. So, as I have said din kanina, reduce output yung ating stationary because hindi siya umikot. So, after exposure, so nandito lang yung heat, so matagal siyang mag-cool down. While ito, after exposure, iikot yan para mapagpag niya yung mga naipon niyang init. So, yung anode stem is yung ating shaft. So, attaches the rotating target to the rotor. Also usually made of copper, pero it is also made of molybdenum. So, ganun kasi nakalagay sa busyong. So, molybdenum siya or pwede rin copper. Rotating target. So, the target for receiving electrons, yung pinaka ganito niya. So, this is made of tungsten, as I have said, added with 5 to 10% rhenium. For the same reason. Okay? Kaya din dinagdagan ng rhenium to withstand then. So, the target is usually made of tungsten. Pero kung ang ating machine ay ginagamit for mammography, so kung for general diagnostic purposes, so tungsten siya. For mammo, so DX yan na diagnostic. General diagnostic machine, tungsten. For mammographic machine, so this is made of molybdenum. Bakit molybdenum? Dahil mammography is a soft tissue imaging. So for breast, so hindi natin kailangan ng mataas na atomic number ng ating target. So molybdenum lang. Okay? So the higher the atomic number, so that is letter Z ha, capital letter Z. The higher the atomic number, so the higher energy it will produce. Okay? The more penetrating it is. Mas makaka-penetrate siya. Of course, pag mababa ang atomic number, so mababa din ang energy ng X-rays na mapuproduce, so this will be less penetrating. So usually, sa general diagnostic, gumagamit tayo ng 70 kbp above. Actually, maabot pa nga ng 150 kbp, 120 kbp. So, matataas na yan. So, therefore, kailangan natin na mataas na atomic number, which is the tungsten nga yung pinaka-ideal. While for mammography, so gumagamit tayo ng, usually, ang ginagamit na kbp sa mammography is 25 to 28 kbp. Ang mammography, as I have said, soft tissue imaging siya, so mababa ang kbp na kailangan natin para hindi siya ganun ka-penetrating. Kasi kung penetrating siya, tatago siya hanggang buto ng pasyente. So, hindi mo makikita ang breast tissue. Ang makikita mo yung tawag ito, yung ribs niya, okay? Yung sternum niya. So, kailangan natin makita yung soft tissue, kaya kailangan less penetrating siya. So, ang ideal na material of choice is the molybdenum. Atomic number ng molybdenum is 42, I think. Kasi 43 is technetium. So also, the anode, if you can recall dun sa mga images natin kanina, hindi siya straight, di ba? Ang anode natin is ganito. Okay, naka-angulate siya. And the angulation of this is about 8 to 20 degrees ang available. Pero take note na ang isang anode na meron tayo sa machine is fixed. Hindi siya adjustable. So what do I mean by that? Kapag bumili ka ng isang X-ray machine, isang X-ray tube, X-ray unit, tatanungin ka ng manufacturer kung para saan. Kasi ang angulation niya will depend on the purpose. So for example, sa atin, sa diagnostic X-ray, ang ating tube ay naka-angulate at 12 degrees. Tatandaan nyo ito ha, 12 degrees ang angulation. So ibig sabihin, yung ating tube, naka-angulate na yan, yung ating anode. Not the tube, not the anode inside. The anode is angulated already, fixed at 12 degrees. Okay? So, sabi ko nga kanina, hindi siya adjustable na, halimbawa, kung bet mo ng 20 degrees ngayon, i-adjust ka ng 20 degrees, tapos mamaya 10 degrees, 15 degrees, hindi siya ganon. Okay? Does not work like that. Ang pinakamalaking field size natin is 14 by 17 inches. And then yung pinaka-ideal naman na pinakamalapit na SID na gamit natin is how many inches? 40 ha, tabletop. 72 inches is para sa vertical radiography. Vertical radiography, yung nakatayo tayo dun for chest x-ray. So vertical radiography yon 72 inches. Pag tabletop, 40 inches. Ibig sabihin ng pasyente natin nandun sa table. Okay? So 40 inches ang pinakamalapit. 72 is for vertical radiography. Tabletop, 40 inches. So ito yung meron tayo. So, bakit 12 degrees? Balikan natin yung 12 degrees. So, according to Bushong, 12 degrees is sufficient, enough na siya na angulation ng ating anode to cover a 14 by 17. So, 12 degrees is sufficient or enough to cover a size at an SID of 40 inches. Okay? 40 inches. Dalawa yan. Pag ganito lang fit. Pag dalawa inches. Bakit kailangang naka-angulate? So, according to the line focus principle, which is also referred to as the GOTC principle, line focus principle or the GOTC principle refers to the angulation of the anode. So, angulation of the anode so that the actual focal spot, which I will discuss in a while, is larger or greater than the effective focal spot. Okay? So, ito yung sinasabi sa line focus principle or sa GOTC principle. Ang line focus principle na sa Busyong, ito wala. Pero, mga previous board exam, ito yung ginamit nila na term, GOTC principle. So, this refers to sometimes it is termed as angling or angulation. So, angulation of the anode, so which is at 12 degrees, so that the actual focal spot size or actual focal spot is larger or greater or bigger than the effective focal spot. So, para mas madali, the actual focal spot should be larger or greater than the effective focal spot. Yung ating actual and effective focal spot. So, ito yung ating anode. Ito yung ating cathode. So, yung electrons natin, dito, so mapupunta siya, di ba? Pag nag-expose tayo, yung electrons natin napupunta sa side na to. Okay? So this portion here is what we call the actual focal spot. Okay? Actual focal spot siya. Saan naman yung ating effective focal spot? This is towards the patient. Effective focal spot. So, actual focal spot is the actual area sa target natin, di ba? Itong anode natin, sige, para magkaintindihan tayo. Sa rotating anode, ang anode mismo is also the target. It is also the actual focal spot. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kung ito yung anode natin, ito rin yung ating target, and lahat ng part niyan is also the actual focal spot. So, yung part na to, kung saan tumama yung ating electrons, ito yung focal spot. Diba, umiikot siya. Kung dito man tumama, so ito rin yung actual focal spot. Okay? Sa stationary anode, diba, ito lang siya, hindi siya umiikot. So, kung itong part lang ang target, laging nandito lang. Laging ito at ito lang ang kailangang tamaan ng electrons para mag-produce ng X-rays. Okay? So, isang area lang. So, one spot only. So, magkaiba ang, ito yung buong anode, ito yung target. Sa stationary anode, ito yung target. Ay, ito yung anode. Okay? Anode. This is anode. Okay? Anode. And then, ito yung ating target. Halimbawa, ito lang siya, specific area lang. Ito yung target. Okay? So, yung ibang red dyan, hindi yan target. Ito lang yung target. And yung nasaan yung focal spot, dito lang sa isang side. Sa rotating anode, lahat yan pareho. So, sa rotating anode naman, kung ito yung anode, ito rin yung target, ito rin yung focal spot. Since umiikot nga siya, kahit saan siya tamaan. Kung ito yung ating actual focal spot, ito yung ating effective focal spot. So bakit ang sabi dun sa ating line focus principle, naka-angulate ang anode so that the actual focal spot is greater or larger than the effective focal spot. The actual focal spot, mas malaki siya dapat since ito laging tinatamaan ng electrons. So itong part na to yung laging mainit. Okay? So kailangan malaki ang area na yan para hindi siya madaling matunaw. Kung i-compare mo, halimbawa ito, tapos ito lang, yung part na to, ang laging natatamaan ng electrons na mainit, madali siyang matunaw, madali siyang ma-vaporize. Okay? So, kailangan malaki siya. In reality nga, di ba, lahat ng part niya, actual focal spot. So, anywhere tamaan. So, hindi siya madaling ma-vaporize. So, kaya dapat mas malaki siya. Ang effective focal spot naman is towards the patient. So, maliit siya dapat. Maliit siya. Ito yung patient natin. So, it should be smaller to reduce patient dose. Okay? So, malaki ang actual focal spot para hindi siya madaling ma-vaporize or matunaw. Maliit ang effective focal spot to reduce patient dose. So most rotating anode, since nagro-rotate siya, usually it has an RPM of 3,400. Okay? So 3,400, mabilis na yon para madali siya mag-dissipate ng heat. Pero yung mga modern X-ray tube, modern X-ray anode, it rotates at a maximum of 10,000 RPM. The faster the RPM or the higher the RPM, mas madali siyang mag-dissipate ng heat, mas madali siyang mag-cool down, mas marami tayong magagawang exposure or examination or trabaho sa isang araw. Kaya lang syempre, mas mataas ang RPM, mas mahal siya. So most common is 3,400. Maximum available is 10,000 RPM. So during exposure, the cloud of electrons or the space charge strike the target at a specific area, which I have mentioned is called the focal spot. So focal spot, as I have said, is the actual area in the target struck by the electrons, which converts electrical to electromagnetic radiation. Target is defined as the area in the anode para hindi kayo ma-confuse kasi lumalabas to sa board exam. Area in the anode struck by electrons and converts it into X-rays. While the focal spot is the actual area in the anode struck by electrons and converts it into X-rays. Sa ibang edisyon ni Busyong, actual area in the target instead of anode. Okay? So, ang term nyo sa focal spot, may keyword kayo na actual. Sa target, di ba kung titingnan nyo, pareho na ang definition niya. Pero sa focal spot, may word na actual. So tungsten again, because of its high atomic number, high melting point, heat conducting ability. So the ability to conduct heat, which helps cool the anode and prevents it from melting or vaporizing. And also, mas cheaper siya compared to other materials. So ito rin yung na-discuss ko, focal tract, which is also the focal spot. So actual, the physical area or the actual area bombarded, the effective is basta towards the patient. So ito siya, ito yung ating actual focal spot, ito yung effective focal spot. So this is how X-rays are produced. So may mga conditions para ma-produce ang X-rays. Kailangan, syempre, may heated filament. Para mangyari yung ating thermionic emission. Kailangan may heated filament. So, kailangan mataas ang current. Yun nga, 3 to 6 amperes. Kailangan ng high voltage. Para saan ang high voltage? Para mataas ang energy ng electrons natin na mapupunta sa ating anode. So, the higher the energy, so high voltage is equal to high kVp. Okay? So, high kVp is equal to high energy. So, the higher the energy of the electrons, the higher the energy of the X-rays as well, the more penetrating it is. So, it is more penetrating. Okay? So, kailangan may high voltage. Siyempre, kailangan ng anode or target or focal spot kung saan dito mangyayari yung conversion ng energy. Okay? So, ito yung mga conditions para ma-produce ang X-rays. So, paano na-produce ang X-ray? So, una, mag-a-apply tayo ng 3 to 6 or 4 to 6 amperes ng current dito sa ating filament. And then, kapag nag-init na ang filament, magkakaroon ngayon ng thermionic emission. Then, magkakaroon ng production ng electrons. Okay? So, because of thermionic emission. Then, because of the application of the high voltage, yung ating high-speed electrons, so high-speed na siya, mapupunta siya dito sa ating anode. Okay? As you can see here. So sa anode, nangyayari yung energy conversion. So nako-convert ang electrons into X-rays. So kaya napoproduce ng X-rays. Dito papasok yung ating Bremstra lang. Ang Bremstra lang, if you can remember, sana maalala nyo lagi at huwag nyo makalimutan, learn this by heart. So Bremstra lang are produced when high energy electrons struck the target. Pupunta siya dito. Mapupunta siya dito sa ating anode. Very, very short lang ang distance niya. Hindi pa nga aabot ng kalahating ruler ang distance niya. Yung distance between the filament and the cathode, di ba? Very, very short lang sa loob ng glass envelope. Tapos high speed pa yung electrons natin. Then bigla siya mag-i-stop, di ba? Pag stop niya, so magre-release siya ng excess energy in the form of Bremsstrahl lang. Okay? So nabanggit ko rin kanina yung 1% X-ray. Tapos 99% heat. So 1% na X-ray na to, hahatiin yan into high energy X-rays and low energy X-rays. So ang high energy X-rays in a form of Bremsstrahl lang is about 85% of Bremsstrahl lang. And characteristic X-rays are low energy X-rays, which is about 15%. So, yung ganitong figure is nasa busyong siya kung kVp. At 100 kVp, kapag nag-expose tayo, yung 1% na X-ray na to, so mahati siya sa 85% na Bremsstrahlung lang or high energy X-rays and 15% characteristic X-ray which are low energy X-rays. Kung mababa ang kVp na gagamitin, kung less than 100, sorry, this is greater. So greater muna, mataas. Sulat ko na eh. So greater than 100 kVp, mas mataas, so greater than 85% ang Bremsstrahlung, less than 15% ang characteristic X-ray. Kung less than 100 kVp, so less than 85%, Bremsstrahlung, greater than 15% ang characteristic X-ray. Sige, para mas maintindihan. At 100 kVp, so Bremsstrahlung will be 85%. Characteristic X-ray is 15%. So again, ito yung nagko-comprise ng 1% ng X-ray natin ha, during exposure. Kung mas mataas sa 100 kVp, ang Bremsstrahlung is mas mataas din sa 85%. Ang characteristic X-ray is less than 15%. So what does it mean? Ibig sabihin, pag mas mataas ang kVp, mas mataas ang energy, so mas maraming high energy X-rays, mas kokonti ang low energy X-rays. For example lang, kasi sa busyong, hindi ko siya nakita kung how much yung actual percentage. Ito lang kasi nakalagay sa busyong, yung 100 lang. So halimbawa lang, pag 100, let's say for example, 120 kVp ang ginamit. So for example lang ha, hindi ito yung actual figure, para lang makita niyo yung ibig kong sabihin. So 120 kVp, let's say for example, 90% si Bremsstrahlung lang, so that is greater than 85, tapos 10% na lang si characteristic X-ray, which is less than 15%. Kung halimbawa gagamit tayo ng less than 100 kVp, si Bremsstrahlung will be less than 85%. Characteristic X-ray will be greater than 15%. For example, gagamit tayo ng let's say 70 kVp. Si Bremsstrahlung instead na 85, magiging less than 85. Let's say for example, 70% na lang si Bremsstrahlung. Then si characteristic X-ray will be 30%, which is greater than 15. Okay? So what does it mean? So ibig sabihin, kapag mataas ang kVp na ginagamit, mas marami rin ang high energy X-rays. Pag mababa ang kVp na ginamit, halimbawa ito, mas mataas o mas tataas, hindi mas mataas, mas tataas ang low energy X-rays compare dito, di ba? Tapos bababa rin yung ating high energy X-rays. Naintindihan ba? Na-gets? So ito yung line focus principle na sinasabi ko kanina. So to reduce the effective focal spot, smaller effective focal spot. So 12 degrees again is recommended to cover the 14 by 17 field size at 40 inches SID. So the higher the angulation, as you can see here, is mas maliit. So the higher the angulation, the greater, the larger the field size. The smaller the anode angulation, the smaller the field size. So kaya ang ideal natin is 12 degrees lang. Enough na siya for 14 by 17. So, ang pag-angulate ng ating anode ay nagkakaroon ng advantage, di ba? So, malaki ang actual focal spot, maliit ang effective focal spot para mas reduce ang patient dose. Pero, may isa siyang pinaka-downside. Downside, iba-ibang term kasi ginagamit. Downside, disadvantage. side effects, unfortunate consequence, which is what we call the anode hill effect. So again, the anode hill effect is the downside, the disadvantage, the side effect, the unfortunate consequence of angulating the anode, or the downside of line focus principle. So according to anode hill effect, radiation intensity on the cathode side of the X-ray tube is higher than the anode side. So what does it mean? So I will discuss that sa next slide. So ang anode hill effect, mas noticeable siya or makikita siya sa ating final image kapag gumamit tayo ng small focal spot, short SID, shorter than the recommended. Kung tabletop, kung shorter than 40, instead of 40, gumamit tayo ng 36, 35. Or kung vertical radiography, instead of 72, gumamit tayo ng 70, 60. Then also, magiging noticeable din siya kapag malaki ang ating field size. Like for example, sa hand. So, pwedeng 8 by 10 lang, pero ginawa natin 14 by 17 sa hand. So, mas noticeable ang anode hill effect. So, ito ang ibig sabihin niyan. So, as you can see, this is the cathode side. Mas maraming X-ray sa part na to, mas intense compared sa side ng cathode. So, ano ang importance nito sa atin as RadTech? As RadTech, kailangan nating maintindihan ang anode hill effect para tama ang pagkakaposisyon natin sa pasyente. So, para hindi siya noticeable doon sa ating final image, kailangan yung mas makapal, the thicker part of the patient should be placed on the cathode side. Okay? Ito siya. So, okay, pag makapal, halimbawa chest x-ray, ako magpapa-chest x-ray, mas makapal yung part ko na to. So, ito yung ipoposition nyo sa cathode side. Okay? Ito, mas manipis. Mas manipis siya. So, ito yung ipoposition nyo sa anode side. Ito sa cathode side. Okay? So, para hindi siya noticeable. Kasi, kung ang pagkakaposisyon nyo is mali, yung makapal na area is, halimbawa, ito yung ating patient. So, ito yung stomach, ito yung chest. Halimbawa, dito nilagay yung ating anode, dito yung cathode, sa manipis. Kapag makikita nyo sa x-ray, ito, since yung ating anode, konti lang yung intensity of X-rays dito, tapos nilagay niyo pa siya sa makapal, konting X-rays lang ang ma-expose dito. So this can be seen as underexposed. Ito naman sa cathode side, since manipis lang yung area na to, tapos intense pa yung X-rays dito, so ang makikita niyo dito is overexposed. So hindi siya balance. Okay? So, kailangan tama ang pagkakaposisyon para ma-avoid natin yung anode hill effect sa ating final image. So, position the thicker part of the patient to the cathode side and the thinner, manipis na part sa anode side. Naintindihan? So, ito yung focal spot sizes na sinasabi ko, 0.3 millimeters kung kailangan natin ng magnification, 0.5 to 1 for bony parts, and 1 to 2 millimeter for all other examinations, but using this one requires large patient dose, exposure dose, and short exposure time. But the most common focal spot size na ginagamit is 1 millimeter.